Hey, good day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in on Passages in Pranayama. This video is about verse 13. We're up to verse 13 in the Samkhya Karika, this philosophical system that is one of the six orthodox schools of Indian philosophical thought. Um, yeah, so it is well, it's starting to get juicy, I like to say. Last week we touched on the gunas a bit in this passage, and the following passage we go a little bit deeper into the gunas, but specifically this one, there's some very interesting content that will be revealed. Of course, remember if you're studying the Samkhya Krika, or if you're not studying the Samkhya Krika, um, and you want to get started, these videos are great. If you are studying the Samkhya Krika, these are meant to be something to help you support and understand this philosophical system. Okay, now let's get started. Of course, later on, we will also do some pranayama. We're going to keep it easy today. Kapila writes in Karika 13, in verse 13, Sattva is considered to be light and bright, Rajas, exciting and mobile, and Tamas is heavy and enveloping. Like a lamp, their function is to gain an end. Right. So right off the bat, if we're just going to kind of decipher this karika, and if we're going to keep it simple, all of its meaning is contained with it. We need not really look very deeply into this verse, but we will. But on its surface, right? That's what we want to check out first. Sattva is considered to be light and bright. Remember, we're thinking about these three different qualities. Again, we discussed this in the past last week. Um, Sattva is again light and bright. Ideally, I use the word beast that we're ultimately trying to attract into our lives. Rajas, he explains as exciting and mobile, right? And so sometimes the language I'll use there is dynamic and passionate. And tamas is heavy and enveloping, right? And again, sometimes there's adjectives that I will use are dull and heavy. Right? Or I also like to use inert. Yes, inert. So, right, these are the three qualities. Last week I had mentioned that if you happen to study Ayurveda, they might seem a bit similar to the doshas. And in some ways they are, and in other ways they are definitely not. And we will get to that in next week. Right? Next week we'll talk about the differences. But their similarities are, and I feel as though I'm jumping ahead of myself, so I might repeat this a little bit later, is that it is through the if we look at how these evolutes unfold in this philosophical system, at the very top, we'll call it the top, we have Purusha and Prakriti. Right? Purusha, the knower, the observer, the spirit, and then Prakriti, material nature. Right? On one hand, you have like this absolute consciousness, right? That of which we're trying to transcend towards or to. Material nature, right? This is where we reside. Let's call this kind of our lower nature, lower reality, and Purusha is that higher reality. Maybe can be one way to explain it. Purusha, excuse me, Prakriti, material nature, is where the evolutes begin to unfold. And again, this is the reality in which we live in and must operate in, and therefore must follow those rules. The first evolute is out of material nature is sometimes called Mahat um, uh, Buddhi, right? The this higher intelligence, right? Um, and this higher intelligence like immediately gives us our identity, which will, of course, turn into that next evolute, which is Ahamkara. The Ahamkara is the I maker or the ego. So it kind of begins here and next week I'll expand on this idea. We have this intellect that kind of, we we become our own selves, right? We individuate from all of nature. Now, as we do that, we can now become aware of these three qualities and how these three qualities might impact us throughout our day. Um, Baura, in his commentary, talks about, upon waking up, a lot of times we can best discover what guna might be imposed upon us. And I say imposed, it's not as if there is just a singular force being imposed upon us. Instead, there's myriad forces, including our own mind, that will determine what guna we might be residing in. So sometimes you wake up and you're just like, want to go back to sleep. Immediately, that is a signal that tamas guna, tamoguna, is dominant. Other times we maybe we can't sleep, we're restless, right? And we're just kind of tossing and turning all night. And we wake up, although we might feel groggy, we clearly cannot sleep, we clearly cannot rest. And this is a sure sign that tamo guna, right? Tamas, is the dominant guna at that point. On the other hand, if we wake up and fully rested and the mind clear and the energy even, chances are we're waking up to satoguna, right? Or sattvic, right? Sattva, right? Sattva guna, right? So this is a good way. Like one of the qualities of the gunas is that they're constantly changing. Now, I'm going to take a step back because there's a really interesting thing again that Baura kind of expands on here in the commentary, and that is that prakriti, right? Material nature, prakriti. The word itself is made up of the three gunas. So, uh, as it's broken down, prakash means to illuminate, right? To make bright, um, to make light, right? Prakash. And this is sattva, right? This is the quality of sattva, right? I realize the word is different, but this is the quality of sattva. Then we have kura or kriya, right? Just be kriya, which is like a subtle movement, but kura, right? Prakra, prakash, meaning to illuminate. Kura really translates to do, right? Or to act, right? Krama, karma, right? Kriya, so subtle movement or change, right? And this is rajoguna, right? Rajas, right? Dynamic, it's moving, there's something happening. And then we have prakriti, right? Stiti, right? The root prakriti, right here, just like stiti is, and if you are an Ashtangi, we know samastiti, right? Stiti is stability, right? It's kind of the origins, right? The etymology of stability, right? So stiti, stable, grounded, um, fixed. These are the qualities of tamoguna, right? Tamas. Okay, so there's that. Now they're in constant fluctuation, right? That's the thing with material nature. Right? They're in constant movement, constantly changing. It is, and again, we'll expand on this in Karika 14. It is because of our intellect that we have the ability to, mm, we have the ability, we have Yeah, we have the ability to understand which guna is dominant. Right? And this is what's important, right? The three gunas are always at play with one another. There's there's never one is never absent, right? There's always three. It is always which one is dominant that is going to be the quality that manifests within you, mind and body. So the gunas constantly at play with one another within Prakriti means that all of the evolutes of which we've been through, the subtle elements, the gross elements, the organs of action, the organs of perception, hamkara, and the buddhi. All right, so we have these, and of course, the gunas themselves, right? And the gunas are playing on each one of those evolutes. Each phase, the gunas are present. All right. So before I get to, well, I guess we should discuss, right? How do we bring balance into our lives? Like, again, sattva is the guna that we want to attract. That's the one that we want to cultivate in our lives. If we look at the definitions, qualities of the gunas, after all, they are qualities or attributes, there's going to be an optimal guna, that of course is sattva, to, let's say, perform music or to meditate, um, or just to be in your day, right? If you are, let's say, meditating, right? This is the example I'm really thinking of right now. If the mind and body, for that matter, in its majestic state, it's going to be fickle. Right? The mind will be fickle and um, moving all over the place. The body itself is not going to have the ability to kind of relax and sink deeply into the moment. On the other hand, tamas, the body is a kind of a good quality to have, right? Well, it might be too heavy feeling, right? It might start to slouch or even fall asleep, right? Which can happen in meditation. Um, but the mind in a tamasic state is dull. It is also absent, right? So the ability for our consciousness to transcend is is not a possibility, right? There's a fixed state to it. And on the other hand, of course, sattva, right? This is where there's good balance. If you think about body, we're thinking about what's that? Yoga Sutra 246, I think. Yeah, 246, right? Um, uh, the asana, right? The asana, the posture, the seat is both stable, right? And light, right? And so that these qualities are really well balanced. And the same is true for the mind. The mind can clearly observe, right? And at the same time, it's not moving all over the place. Kind of a great place for the mind to be, no doubt. Okay. Now, using the example of the lamp, okay, like a lamp, their function is to gain an end. All right. So the lamp here, of course, is the more traditional lamp, right? You have like a brass housing of some sort, filled with oil, a wick, and of course, there's a flame, right? The wick itself is tamasic, right? It's just kind of like a fixed thing, right? If you were to drop it, it would just thud and just stay. Oil is a good example of Rajaguna, right? Rajas. Right? You pour it out, it's going to move all over the place. Right? There's movement to it. And the flame, excuse me, is luminous and light. This is a good example of Sattva Guna. Okay, so now, so why do we bring this up? Right, as mentioned, All three gunas cannot exist without one another, right? Again, there is the principle of dominance within the play of the gunas, but there is never absence within the gunas, right? There is never a guna is never completely absent. There's always going to be that quality. So we have the ability to become aware of which one is dominant. We also have the ability to cultivate the guna that is most desirable, right? That is going to bring pleasure and joyfulness, and that, of course, is sattva. Now, of course, the practice of that can be quite difficult, right? But there are certain tools that we use, such as pranayama, to help bring a sattvic quality to mind and body. So today I've been practicing. We've been doing some qigong. Today we're going to keep it super simple. Get back to basic pranayama. If at any time throughout your pranayama practice, your breath work, you find yourself a little bit uncomfortable, please feel free to just fall into your own rhythm. It's going to be a steady count of inhales and exhales, the count of 5. Yeah, let's keep it 5. Like I said, I want to keep it simple. All right, we're going to do 10 rounds. And after that, we will slip into a few moments of quiet meditation. Find Gya Mudra, hands upon knees, thumb and index together, palms up. Jalandhara Bandha, chin down, chest up, shoulders back. Sit tall. Let's first inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. With control, in 1, exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Breathing smooth, naturally. Loosen control of your breath, but keep your mind fixed on your breathing for the next few moments. Move. Exhale. And take a deep inhale through your nose. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. And exhale through your mouth. Roll your shoulders back and down. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Again, if you can hit that like, subscribe button, would really appreciate it. If you have any questions as well, please feel free to message or write it in the comments. All right. Peace.